do it.
Let's do it. You guys got to miss our talking about our bad backs
and getting old.
Physical therapy and chiropractic.
I just turned 31 on Monday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you.
You know what? We have to. We had my birthday. This is the first time we've had your birthday on the podcast.
Yes, yeah.
So you'll get the special effects of people singing "Happy Birthday." It's going to happen.
No, I felt great on Monday, and I got a kind of a crick in my neck this morning. And it's like, okay, it's 31 hitting, but no, I feel 25, baby.
Yeah,
it's all mental.
Mentally, you're 25.
Hey, it's great for those viewing the video, which we know there are a lot of you. It is great to see you. It's good to be back. You'll notice that we've actually rearranged the table. We're working on some echo issues, but we're giving this a try.
We hope that, the echo issues, I hope you haven't noticed them too bad. They were a little bad at the beginning of last one. The problem is Sam yells everything.
My wife would agree. Damn it.
And that I'm not a very good audio technician. So the two things don't go well together at all.
I think it is a combination.
Yep, it is.
So I told Roop, guys, before we hopped on this morning, we're not going to rush this by any means, but actually, I'm on another podcast this morning.
This is a humble brag. So what's happened is, I was thinking about this driving in today.
At 10 a.m.
I think we're made men now in the podcast world. We've had a famous guest.
It's very true.
We have a video version of the podcast, just like Joe Rogan.
Yes.
And you have been I haven't. But you have been invited to participate in someone else's podcast. I think that's the trifecta for your profession.
I got to give a shout out.
And we almost had Avion Water. It's a sponsorship.
I don't think we almost have that.
It's close.
We do.
I've been told it's close.
Let me know about your sponsorship deals. No, I'm on an old friend of mine, Bailey Miles, who is an amazing human, has invited me on his podcast. It's called Building Excellence.
Nice.
And here's the thing, Roop, right? I try to consider myself a good human being and doing some good things in this world. He's had people like Matt Holliday and his wife. Matt Holliday is a famous professional baseball player. He had the former founder of Starbucks, former president of Starbucks.
I was going to say he's probably founder forever.
Former president of Starbucks. I'm like, wow. And now the president of Littlefield. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be a headliner by any means, but
no pressure.
Anyway, shout out to Bailey. It's really nice of you to have me, and I'm excited to chat with you here in about 45 minutes.
Despite our quality of podcast, I'm impressed that you've been invited to that.
Hey, thank you.
So yeah.
Hey, give everyone kind of lowdown on our Friday afternoon excursion. Last Friday.
Yeah. So I was actually off, but I met everybody there. It was fun. We had a fair day, Tulsa State Fair.
It was a blast.
It was a lot of fun. We all met. We went and did the vacation station for the Tulsa airport.
#TUL to NYC.
Yep. Use that hashtag, and you can enter to win a free round-trip ticket for you and a loved one or a hated person. You could take your enemy out there, maybe two go out, one come back. But you can win a trip to New York is the headline. So the vacation station is, I believe, fair's over now. So it is, I think, at Gathering Place.
So it's going to go to the Gathering Place. Here they're working on some logistics, but yes, next stop, I believe actually the FC Tulsa game, and then the Gathering Place for next week. So check it out. But the fair experience
was fun.
Super fun. Chelsea Clement even had a good time.
She did.
She was pleasantly surprised. She said she'd go back with her kids, and that's a victory to me.
It is. She ate fair food, which was the real.
She had some cheese curds. She had a caramel apple.
Yep.
And I think, she had a bite of my...
Terrible Hero?
Oh, God, that was awful. No, she did not eat that. That was the one downside to the fair. However, she ate Pineapple Whip. And she's like, okay, this is good.
You know what? I had one of those on the way out. It was very good.
And that's exactly what we did on the way out. So
it was nice. We walked through the buildings. We walked around as a group, ate fair food. It was a good time. We should do it every year.
And that's the thing. Everyone was like, we have the Christmas party coming up. We do our Thanksgiving stuff. We have Halloween. So the fall is very busy. But more people came up to me and said, hey, if we were to do like an annual fall agency event, and by the way, significant others showed up, which I thought was wonderful. You brought your wife.
Yeah,
I love
Carrie
that.
came.
Carrie came. Carly brought her husband.
Yep.
We had no idea. T-Dog, Tom, has a girlfriend from South Africa. She was lovely.
Well, now, I was told that was his roommate. Is that his girlfriend?
I thought it was I just assumed girlfriend.
What? Tom, don't listen to this. We'll edit this out.
No, keep it on here. I don't think T-Dog's listening to the podcast.
We're about to find out.
But anyway, so many people really enjoyed it, and I think next year we're going to do kind of a fall family event, and it was great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And where are we going today? Speaking of fall events.
Dude, so we've got our, this is our second annual Oktoberfest, and it's not the actual Oktoberfest event. We go to our friends at Cabin Boys, and we enjoy a good beer. I don't think they have, because 1907 left, but we'll enjoy some beers.
Yeah, the beers.
Julie Swab is bringing Johnny, and I love that. I think that's so awesome. And Jay's going to come, so it'll be really nice to see Julie, Johnny, and Jay. We miss them, and we just can't wait to meet the little guy.
Yep, it's going to be a big day. I'm kind of excited. I'd forgotten about it actually, and I kept looking on the calendar, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun."
Yeah,
and I forgot about it literally until you mentioned it. Right before
just after 5:00 today.
Yep.
So. And then yesterday, we had Joe Parsons from Trencor. He flew in from West Salem, Ohio, and we did kind of call it a brain dump data learning day from Joe. And it was fascinating. He was buttoned up. He was prepared, ready to go. We learned a ton. Went to Cafe Olé afterwards, had a margarita and some food with a pub rep that's in town, Tom Kavoris, who's an amazing Greek man. And so, dude, it's just... I don't know about you, Roop, but I'm blinking all of a sudden. I read something the other day. It was very well said. October, November, and December are like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
And it is true. You get to October 1st, and boom, you blink, and you're singing Christmas carols.
I was trying to figure out if there's a way to relate those. Sunday being church day and Christmas is December. That makes sense. October, Halloween is kind of like that wild night of Friday. Wild night
on Friday, and then Saturday, right? You might have a wild time. It might just be kind of chill, but November.
Maybe hang with the family.
Yeah, for sure. Eat some good food.
That's good. I like that. I hadn't thought of that one.
Okay, now before we dive into digital trends, you've got a crazy stat here. Not a stat.
Yeah,
a fact.
This is just something I saw on the Hustle,
and it makes me sad. But read it to us.
If you get the Hustle. You've probably already seen this. It was in the headline, and it took me a minute to find it in the article. So it was such an intriguing subject line that got me to search and spend time in the really long emails. Apparently the kids, that being the Gen Z generation, hates GIFs.
GIF or GIF?
Well, I always say GIF,
yeah,
but they hate them. And when you read about why they hate them, it makes sense. It's because my generation has adapted them and uses them way too much and uses the same ones over and over. I'm reading this article. I'm like, yep, check mark, check mark, check mark. That's me.
It's me too, dude. And I'm a different generation.
Yeah, and I send them to my kids in text messages all the time. Like, it is what it is. But what was once a really kind of cool way to quickly communicate your emotions or a scene or whatever's going on has become something they do not like.
They loathe it. They're not fans.
They're not fans. The article mentioned they'll come around. They'll get nostalgic for it. I saw everybody was getting nostalgic yesterday for the Blink-182 reunion.
Oh, dude, I woke up to this morning and it was everywhere.
I know.
The World Tour reunion.
People were quite excited.
People were losing their freaking minds.
They were losing their minds. And I kept thinking, okay, that band that I kind of remember after I got out of college for a while, they're fine. But then it occurred to me, this is because it wasn't really for me, there's a whole generation that's like, that's a big, big deal.
Say it ain't so. Huh?
Really,
see what I did there?
Yeah, I did see what you did. It aged me, so I didn't enjoy that. Anyhow, the kids and GIFs, they're out. They'll get nostalgic for it again, just like Blink-182, and it'll come back.
It's interesting. Tara's cousins, who are prime Gen Z, they're 19, 21, and 23. Will never use GIFs, but boy, they use the shit out of emojis.
And I don't use those as much.
Use so many emojis.
Well.
The Tinder emoji, especially, and like not in this. I'm not talking about the app. I'm talking about those kind of like bubbly eyes.
I don't like them.
Yeah, they're like really into them.
I don't like them. I also don't like those little emote things that avatars of yourself that Zuckerberg's trying to get us to do.
I've never done it, but some people do.
Yeah, that was actually today's hustle. We'll probably talk about later. Is the impending problem of the metaverse. It's where you almost a year into the push on it. It's one of the first things we talked about on the podcast at the beginning of the year.
What was the stat? It was like 55 or 57% of Facebook employees are confused about the
It's not even so much. I think people are starting to kind of understand it better what it is. I think they're just not hyped for it.
I'm sorry. It'd be like if we our employee survey, we're going to go over it in the exec meeting today, Roop, and then we're going to deploy it here the next week at the agency. That'd be like if 60% of Littlefield was like, yeah, I don't understand what Littlefield's about. What?
Yeah, that's a problem. I hope that's not on the survey.
I just talked really loud there. I'm sorry. You have to adjust my audio.
Yeah. Well, when I'm adjusting your audio, I'm really adjusting mine because you jump across the table into my mic is what happens. Anyhow, moving along.
Okay.
Should we get into digital trends?
Yes, and Roop, you shared something earlier that I believe this is your last form of serialized content from Inbound, which is sad.
Probably.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, and there's other HubSpot Inbound content that I need to do some more digging into before I present. But like from my notes, this is probably the last one. So here we go. Digital trend number one for the week. For the foreseeable future, the last Inbound report. And this is just a bunch of quick hits on some social platform tidbits that I found. So there were a couple of sessions I went to that were about specific platforms, and then others just kind of about, in general, I'd hear things. And so this is a roundup of most of those. And I'm just going to go through by the platform. First up is our good old friend Facebook that we were just crapping on. One of the things I was kind of surprised to hear, not surprised to hear, I guess, is that organic reach, and that's reach you don't pay for, which is the thing you want. Organic reach. If you have good you've always been told if you have good content and good engagement, you'll get good reach, and that's what you want. Well, they've done some research. This group did some research, and it turns out organic reach is actually tied to Facebook's stock price.
You gotta be kidding me.
There's a correlation, and so what they say is, if your stock price is down, they start kind of pulling back on reach, because what does that say? That says they need you to pay for the reach. When they're paying for the reach, the stock price goes up because they're starting to see money come in. It's not great.
I'm not a fan.
Okay, so that was one I saw for Facebook. Another one was, I have an asterisk on this one. 5+ long minute videos get the best reach in a 81% more engagement.
There's no way.
We spent years and still do talk a lot about being short and to the point, and 15 second, 30 second, even 7 seconds, 6 seconds. Right. Sure. That was really the story for a while. Every time you see a metric or a report that says 5-minute videos are getting the best, which is, to be fair, is across a lot of platforms right now. That's because the platform is able to take a longer video and inject more ads into it. So they're going to naturally push more of it out there, and they're going to reward people to give them ad real estate. That makes sense. So on one hand, you're like, okay, that doesn't mean anything for me as a marketer. On the other hand, you want the reach still, so now I got to play this snake eats tail game of creating a long form video that they can put ads in so that I can get my it's
whack. I think it's whack.
Not sure I agree with this one. Also, the other thing that was very common. Facebook is an old channel at this point. In the same way we laugh and make fun of MySpace, Facebook is old also, but it's still hard to ignore. They still have the audience. For the time being, they're still a big part of media spends on social media and activity on social media. And a lot of people obviously look to them as kind of, I think are stopping to do this, but kind of look to them for like leadership and new features and new technologies. They're starting to lose that part of their persona, but they're still important. Instagram. Okay, Instagram, everything was about live content and going live and doing a live stream. And notice I didn't say on Facebook going live. It's on Instagram going live. Yeah. You can do it on both. YouTube does live too and does okay. TikTok is doing I get promoted TikTok live videos all the time. Anyhow, Instagram live content is king there. 80% of their users prefer live content to reading a blog post. Again, with a little asterisk, if we think about the audience and the demographic, and that the younger generation probably doesn't read as much as an older generation. No slap on them. I don't read either. I need pictures in my books. I get it. But anyhow, to do really well, you had to do live content 2 times a week. I think all these metrics for this one, as I read about this and saw it in different places at Inbound, really lined up with, they're talking about influencers.
Oh, yeah.
They're talking about someone going live and showing you, their workout routine or their makeup routine or whatever, and they do that multiple times a week. Those kinds of things really skew, I think, the metrics in the universe of social media away from things that matter maybe to a B2B marketer like us. But there's still things we have to pay attention to, and is there an angle here? Is there some way we can get in for them? Anyhow, live is a big deal on Instagram, and that's a whole separate topic we'll talk about someday. LinkedIn, which, as you know, I've had a resurgence in my heart lately. They were there, so Facebook wasn't there, but neither was TikTok or YouTube, but LinkedIn was there, so I got to hear them speak. Representatives. 50% of LinkedIn is B2B, which I thought was interesting. I'd always kind of wondered that. the one I think I may have texted you with this when it happened. You know, when you see a post in LinkedIn, and there's the caption, and then it kind of cuts off and says "read more."
Yeah, for sure.
For most platforms, we recommend that you do not have. You don't do that, because no one's going to click the read more. You want them to see everything. On LinkedIn, it's the opposite. On LinkedIn, these clowns, they consider someone clicking read more as engagement. And engagement metrics help you show up. I said LinkedIn, right? So they're like, they're trying to engagement is what helps their metric. It helps the algorithm for your post to show up in more feeds. So longer captions kind of play there. User comments within the first 4 hours influences reach, and we did a test on this.
On the agency.
Yep, and it was true. We did get 3 times the engagement reach. I
was going to ask you about that, and I saw the engagement.
The engagement was pretty good. I think everyone in the agency said something on the post. It was like 20 pieces of engagement in the first 3 hours, and then I compared it to post that we'd posted after and before, and it was about 3 times the reach. So that's true.
Can I add one thing on this?
Yeah.
I had a great conversation recently with someone who I'm totally blanking on who it was.
Just say me.
I'll
own up to it.
It was Roop. And it was a very smart comment. So there you go, Roop.
There you go.
And they said, you know what, I use LinkedIn. I'm too bombarded by brands on LinkedIn.
That's what it is.
You know? Yeah. And like you said, 50% is B2B. So he said, I don't pay attention to anything that a brand posts. I pay attention to smart people that I follow.
Yes.
And I was like, that's a kind key piece of information.
It's good insight, and I've read a few articles that kind of allude to this, that, brands need to participate. They should be there. We talk about all the reasons to do that.
There's an awareness component to it, absolutely.
But the engagement part really does come from the VPs, the presidents, the guy. Give you one. HubSpot has, when I was there, they had they do these online certifications and training sessions that are really, really good. And you see the people in the videos, they're telling you how to do stuff and explaining process and all this. I got in an elevator with one of these women and some other people too at the hotel. And I was like, holy crap, I recognize her from my hours of training. And then there was another session I went to that the line was 5 times around the floor. I could not get in. I got into a later one with the same guy. I was like, I forget his name. It's this guy. He's not a vice president. He's not an owner. He's a face of the company, and he's so popular as a face of the company online. People wanted to see him speak in person. So I've since followed him on LinkedIn, and it's the same. He gets as much or more engagement than HubSpot the brand does, because and here's why it makes sense. He's made that personal connection. You know who he is. He'll answer your emails. He'll answer while we were in the session, he said, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn, send me a message. I'm happy to answer any of your technical questions or anything you got going on. He's representing the brand as a person, and that's a good thing to have if you can find it. You know who. Find your Ronald McDonald.
Exactly. And you know who is the perfect example of that? Sean Copeland. That's what he is for Regent. Dude,
yeah,
that guy's
100%.
His engagement on LinkedIn is insane. Yeah. I envy it.
Yeah, and he represents the brand really well.
Yeah, no, he really does, and he's he absolutely stands for it. But there is something to be said there, and just to be considered as it's a quote unquote thought leader on that platform. So anyway, go ahead, Roop.
Yeah, it's a big one. Anyway, that was all user comments is what we got off on that one. The other one was for LinkedIn was that only 1% of users create content on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn craves that for their feeds. So there's a real opportunity there to get your, either as an individual or brand, in front of people on LinkedIn if you're just creating content. They said a lot of folks use it as a knowledge base, and that's the best way to use it. Like, we talk about, in some ways, it's not a search engine, it's a knowledge base. You go there to find a reference for something very specific, like I just described for HubSpot. Yep. So anyhow, that made a lot of sense to me, the whole concept of knowledge base, create content there. It's something I'm trying to play with a little bit, and I'm going to annoy everyone with for probably the next 6 months to a year. Okay, the other one, the last one, 2 more. YouTube, in the first 24 hours, you can gain as many views as possible for the best reach. And they had a recommendation for this. When you post and you throw something up on YouTube, great. And anyone that's subscribed to the channel is going to get a notification, blah, 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 blah. But if you really want to get as many views as possible to increase the reach, why not also supplement that new post on YouTube with an email telling your email base that, hey, we've got something up new and valuable that you should see over on YouTube. Send an SMS out to everyone's phone. Hey, this is some new content that you're going to enjoy. Let them know on your other social platforms.
And that's the thing, right? I don't know if I agree with the SMS blast, but the email and social posts, that is fantastic. Yeah. And I think it kind of plays to your CCCG, Connected Customer Growth Strategy.
Yeah, that's what that would be. You would have them there, yeah.
Look at that. See, I remember the acronym.
You did a good job. The only thing I'll say about the SMS, there was a lot of SMS talk at this thing. It wasn't so much that you should abuse it that way, but if you have customers that want to interact with you in that way, and there are some out there, you're going to do better hitting them up there than an email. And generationally, email's kind of, not always the strongest communication platforms.
Well, and I've opted into a few brands with SMS, and still shoot me like Mazio's, right? Mm-hmm. They got their pizza of the day, whatever, just $7.99. Great. But then there's some brands that I'm not purchasing on a weekly basis. Like there's a rug company, there's an apparel company, but they are top of mind. I can tell you both of their names. So.
They stay in there.
Okay, no, interesting. I like that.
The last one was TikTok, which we talked about nonstop. Yeah, what is TikTok? We already kind of hit some of these. Yeah. It's the first serious challenge to Google search in 20 years, really in the history of Google. The same SEO best practices that apply everywhere else apply there, and that's keyword-rich captions. Now, there's other things you can do. You can jump on trends, trending music, trending hashtags. That's all there too. But the keywords are kind of key. That's a big part of participating in the search part of TikTok. And vertical video, this was also everywhere. This was probably the number one thing. Vertical video works on nearly every major platform now, and we should be using it. Which segues, by the way, into digital trend number 2. No, Sam, do you want to do that one?
Yeah, first off, thank you for this. This has been 4 weeks worth of great content, Roop. So nice work, man.
Thank you.
And I think this is a banger to.
It was just me listening at Inbound.
It's really you've come back enthused and excited, and I love it. So, like Roop says, this really does segue nicely into digital trend 2, and that is that YouTube is adding a new vertical video conversion as it really leans into this short form vertical video. They're trying to help advertisers evolve with this video consumption, and this is really interesting. We found that when advertisers added a vertical creative asset to their video action campaigns, they saw 10 to 20% more conversions per dollar on YouTube Shorts than the landscape assets alone.
Yeah,
10 to 20%, man.
That's significant.
That's significant.
And there also this whole thing where I don't want to say we had a fight about it, but like it was an elevated discussion inside the agency. Monday?
It was
last Monday?
Tuesday Digital Trends, because I was hosting those entrepreneurs.
That's right. It was
by the way, I'm touring the agency. And it wasn't tense.
No.
There's a really...
It was, oh boy, what is this?
Yeah, just a passionate discussion. And those guys were like, wow, you guys are really into those digital trends. I was like,
So what got us going was there was a good question. Someone in the group had a good question about what happens on YouTube if they're starting to emphasize vertical video. What happens to people that have spent 15, 20 years building up horizontal libraries? And I took a guess at the time, and I said, I think that what's likely to happen is because it's Google and they have the technology and they have the money and they're smart enough, they'll probably reformat or give you the option to reformat those automatically. And how is that going to be possible? Right. I said, well, in the 90s when I worked at Blockbuster Video. By the way, a new Blockbuster show coming on Netflix looks fantastic.
Very excited.
Very excited about that. Love Randall Park. So anyhow, when I worked at Blockbuster in the 90s, there were 2 formats of video that confused customers. One was called letterbox, which, because at the time TVs were not 16 by 9, they were 4 by 3, they were more square. And so studios started putting out films that had the black bars on them to format them so they matched the movie screens. So you got the full picture, even though people got annoyed because the picture was smaller. Mm-hmm. But you're seeing more of it. Anyhow, that was confusing. If you were anti-letterbox, and believe me, those people existed, you wanted pan and scan. Mm-hmm. And pan and scan was way worse, but people liked it. Pan and scan said, we're going to let you have take up the full 4:3 of your TV, your full square TV. But when the action happens on the left, we're going to gently move the camera over here. And when it happens on the right, we're going to gently move it back over here, which is wild. So when we read this thing about vertical video, my guess was, I said, I bet they do a pan and scan. They're going to take your vertical video, they're going to crop it probably in the center. And if they can detect someone speaking or actions taking place on the left, they'll do this. And if they do it this way, they'll go, on the right, pan and scan. So that was my guess. And everyone still couldn't this is crazy. How are they going to know? Blah, 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 blah. 3 or 4 days pass. We do some more looking into it. That's exactly what they're going to do. So, yeah.
Let's go, dude.
And you'll have the option, I would imagine, to turn that on or off or have some ability to kind of adjust it. But, the real takeaway is not to fight for the life of horizontal video. It's to embrace that vertical is the future. It's what we're all walking around spending the most time and the most eyeball time with video-wise on our phones. And we aren't turning them sideways anymore. We're just holding them up and taking a look at it. And there's no reason to fight against that. We used to make fun of people that shot vertical video. Now they're kind of like looking way ahead of their time.
By the way, I've always shot vertical video. Just like
Sam,
I paved the way.
We didn't make fun of you. But yeah, I mean, it is different. And, Kelly and I were talking about this in terms of how to approach it for media. And really, the kind of quick response is if you're shooting a TV commercial, it's going to be on television. Do it horizontal.
Of course.
If you are not and you're doing things for online consumption, you should be thinking vertical first. And, how this trickles down into the creatives and how they kind of reframe the stories they tell in video and all that, that's not my bag. I mean, I have ideas on it, but like that's for them to kind of figure out. And, do we shoot both? Do we shoot one and then crop it and all this? I think that's probably discussions happening in creative agencies all over the country right now.
I'll tell you right now, that's perfect because I was going to say it is a hot topic on a daily basis
here. Yep.
As we prepare for shoots and
when you hear us saying, "Hey, vertical video," and you're like, "Oh, why would I do that? It's just for phones." Well, it's for a lot more eyeballs, is what it's for.
Absolutely,
and more platforms. So,
okay, this is great. Roop, any closing thoughts?
Our closing last week was mild, to say the best, when we signed off, but. No, I have no more other thoughts.
Are you out next week?
I'm out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. So I think we have to do the podcast early.
Podcast on Tuesday.
I'll be hitting taking the kids
to Branson, right?
To Branson, yeah.
That's right.
There's some new roller coasters.
Sounds lovely. Okay. Should be good weather.
Yep.
Everyone, thanks for listening. It's great to see you for those that are tuning in video wise, and you will hear from us early next week before the Roops go on vacation.
Yeah. Everyone's like, how many vacations does this guy take? Well, technically, Boston was not a vacation, but anyhow.
Okay.
And be sure to look out for Sam's guest appearance on
Building Excellence.
Building Excellence.
I will. I'll for sure repost it to my feed. So
yeah, we'll put a link in when it's available. We'll put a link on the podcast page for this podcast as well.
Happy Wednesday, everybody! Thank you for listening.
All right, talk to you later.
Peace.
Adios.